Hi folks, so pausing here in the field for a minute. I figured I'd give you a quick review of Farmall 105A. The one I'm sitting in is a 2022 model. It was sold new at the dealership. We just bought it a month and a half ago. We've put 50-60 hours on the clock since we bought it. It had 100 hours on it when we bought it. Dealer used it for moving around equipment, cleaning up their yard, went on a couple demos, that sort of thing. We paid out the door $75,600, I believe. That is with a loader, with the third function grapple on it. The dealerships had to order the kit in because they didn't have it for the loader that they put on, so we're still waiting for that. We got a little bit of a discount because the hours that were on it. I think the store gave us $2,000 credit for the hours that were on it. And we were not planning to buy a new tractor. We were looking mostly at used. Specifically, I was looking at the Farmall, like I think it was a 100C or the 110C or the New Holland equivalent. The New Holland and case in those models, it would be the T4. They're the same machine, engine's the same, transmission's the same. Literally the only difference is the color of the tractor and the upholstery on the seat and like some trim things. So that's what we were planning to buy. My work has got a Farmall 90C. I really liked the cab. The power output for the engine was fine for the 90C. We wanted a little bit more than that. And I had kind of been watching over the last year because I knew we were going to be buying a tractor this season, and the way that the market is right now, there just wasn't really any available anywhere near us that met what we were looking for a used machine, and we're kind of in that $50,000-$55,000 price range. We do cattle, we do hay, so we needed a loader, we needed four-wheel drive, all that stuff, and we're doing enough acreage that we needed a machine that wasn't houred out, wasn't totally wore out. But because we couldn't find anything, and interest rates, the bank that we use for like our equipment loans, they quoted I think 8.5% to 9% for used equipment. They would also normally require a down payment equal to 20 or 25% of the value. We have enough equity in the rest of our equipment that we would have been able to basically roll our equity to cover what would be the down payment requirement to show 125% equity in the machine. But yeah, we couldn't find anything. So funnily enough, I kind of started looking for new machines. Case currently, I think they extended the offer, but the running one when we bought this, that was 0% for 60 months or 2.5% for 72 months on all new in-stock Farmall tractors. I think that was for the A series and the C series. I don't know if the U series, like the fancy cab machines, met that requirement, but our dealership, and there's not a ton of these Farmalls on lots, so we got lucky basically that our local dealer had a 95A, two 105As, and I think a 115A. Price for kind of engine horsepower in that range, the 105 was by far the best bang for your buck. It's a little deceiving, it's a 105, but the engine rating is actually 112. The 95 is like 96 or something, it much closer matched, and the 115 was like 122 or something horsepower. So 112 horsepower was a pretty good size for what we were doing. It's a 10,000 pound machine when you got the loader on it and the weights and all of that stuff. So it's the right weight class for us. I would have loved to go up a weight class, but the price difference to go to like a 120A was just too much. I didn't think we were really going to get the value there. We went and looked at this tractor once, had the opportunity to sit in it and kind of just go like, okay, yep, it's enough of what we want that we opted to pull the trigger. Took the financing deal through Case, got the loader installed, all that sort of stuff. And now I've had the chance to run it for a bit, I kind of feel like I've got a better grasp of what I like, what I don't like. I will probably tend to compare against a 90C, which is a bad thing because where I used to work has one, and I still use that tractor on occasion. But yeah, I'll go through the bad things about this tractor first, and then I'll go through the good things, and then I'll kind of go through the, like, just regular stuff. So it's quite windy out here today, so I'm not going to try and stay here in the break of the thing. First bad thing, there is only one 12-volt outlet in this entire machine, and it is tucked down in here, and it is set up in such a way that you can't have a cup in the cup holder and something plugged into this, and it's just the cigarette style. Nowhere in this tractor does it have like the 3-prong 12-volt that like cab electronics often have on it. I think that's a pretty big downside of this, and you got to do wiring to really make it usable as a production machine. The cup holder itself also is just a terrible spot. You can't, it's like a blind spot. You can't take your eyes off looking forward to look back there. So I don't know. I know like the 90C has got a cup holder up here, which I really like. It's like right behind the buddy seat. I don't know why they didn't incorporate one up in this. That would have been a much better spot from my perspective, but yeah, it's just operator comfort perspective, really annoying. The seat range of motion is kind of weird. If you were a little bit shorter, I think it would be fine, but I'm 6'2", and I have the problem that my comfortable seating position is with the seat all the way up, and then the range of motion, it's an air ride seat, which I do really like as a option on a base model, but then it slams up against that hard stop, and that is just really annoying. So I have to like have the seat lower than is comfortable, like my knees are kind of bent up in a weird way, in order to have the seat not smash up on me. For me, it's a pretty easy fix. I'm going to take the bolts out of the bottom and put like a 1-inch spacer underneath, because I'm the sort of person that just modifies my tractor to make it more comfortable. The loader lever is awkwardly far away when you're sitting in the tractor. Again, like kind of tall person problems, I have to push the seat pretty far back to kind of be in a sweet spot, comfortable relative to the steering wheel, and then the loader lever is really far away. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do about that, but I need to do something, because when we're loading out hay, picking up bales in a field, I might be doing that for 2 hours, 3 hours straight, and I'm not looking forward to having to use that loader joystick to do that. And a lot of my complaints are just in the cab. Mechanically, the rest of this machine, I really don't have many complaints. Another weird thing, that's this thing, the slide handle, just sticks out in a weird spot, and I'm like always kind of whacking my leg against it. I wish they had done something to maybe tuck that in better, not be so awkwardly protruding. And the buddy seat placement, this really gets me. The buddy seat placement, especially the seatbelt for it, it makes the cab feel much more cramped than it really is, just because it kind of boxes you in. I like having, I guess I shouldn't call it a buddy seat, training seat. I'm just going to take it out because my wife really does not like to sit in this, except under duress anyway, and I think I'm pretty happy just going old school and standing on the steps. Get that out of the way, and then I'm envisioning making a bracket or something to be 2 cup holders that's tucked in a little bit more, and just make this space a little bit more usable. Right now it just ends up being my bottle holder and GoPro junk. A mechanical thing that I don't like, but I also like, this machine has got kind of a quick lift system for the 3-point, which works really great. It's maybe a little aggressive for my tastes, like especially if you have a heavy implement, it kind of like jerks it up and jerks it down. But the bracket for it, I'll have to go back here into the wind. It'll be hard for you guys to see, but there's a bracket in there. This little lever on the bottom here is for that system. The bracket right behind it is what sets the kind of engagement on it, and that bracket is way too flimsy and actually is, you know, on my machine from the factory is bent back, or I can't remember if it was back or forward, and what it causes, get out of the wind here again, the consequence of that being bent is that the 3-point lifts up and gets stuck up, and the handle, the regular handle for controlling the 3-point, even if you put it down, it won't go down because the quick lift system is pulling back on the engagement mechanism, and it just forces it to stay up. You bump it a little bit just by hand, and then suddenly the 3-point drops. I don't really use 3-point a lot on this tractor, so it's not a huge problem yet, but it's something that needs to be fixed before I can really use the 3-point the way that it's intended. The problem that the 90C also has, another mechanical problem, this is on the loader. These are flat face connectors. They work super well, except if you take this loader off when it is, say, 40 degrees out. You take it off in the morning because you're going to do something and you want it off. And you come back in the afternoon and it is 60 degrees. You will not be able to get this loader, the hydraulics, reconnected. There is not enough line to relieve the temperature, or the expansion of the hydraulic fluid just in that little bit of temperature range to get this reconnected. These need to be pressure relieving couplers, or there needs to be some other system integrated into this to be able to relieve the pressure. Because right now the only solution is to literally unhook or take a wrench and crack 2 of the connectors, you know, they'll just be dangling here, crack them, bleed off the hydraulic pressure in it, and then you can connect them. And that drives me nuts because I like to take the loader off when I'm doing, like when I'm cutting hay or baling, if I don't need the loader on. It's just the extra visibility. But I'm starting to dislike taking it off because it's a pain in the butt every single time. Let's see, what else? And the 90C's got the same problem. I think all the Farmalls that have that set up are chronically the same. In here, they put a sunroof in. I wish they would just get rid of that junk. I don't know anyone who cares about a sunroof in a tractor. I've never seen anyone use a sunroof in the tractor. It's just sort of a waste of headroom space, and they could get rid of it and maybe decrease the cost of the machine a few $100s and get rid of an option that I don't think anyone really wants or needs. In the cab, the PTO button that you see over here, I'll climb up here and show you closer. You can see there's already a split right there. There is no support for this button other than this like foamy plasticky material. So, you know, if you're frantically turning off the PTO, you kind of slam on this and it's already split that. And this tractor only has 150 some hours, 160 hours on it. This needed a metal bracket behind it to support it, because it's just a little flimsy thing there. While they could have put 12 volt power there. This is a personal preference, maybe. My experience says it. To me, on a hydraulic block on the back of the tractor, this is the top one, this is the bottom one, and you know, so on and so forth. Every machine I have ever been in has been set up that way. That, you know, on the block it's top to bottom. they've got them backwards on the block, and it looks like it was purposefully designed that way and not that they just put the cables on wrong. It bothers me, and I'm gonna like actually go and switch that so that I'm controlling the top one with this and the bottom one with this. Also, the indents are a little weird on these. I'm actually gonna go buy the third hydraulic set lever, which I think is what the indents are built into. Doesn't have the same indent profile as the blue handle does. Because I don't want indents forward and back, because this is the one that I use to steer the haybine. We got a center pivot haybine. I like, this one having the float all the way forward. But I got to do something different with this, because it's gonna catch every time, and it's like hard to get it out of the indent. It's gonna make it a nightmare to steer the haybine long term. The last gripe I have, and I had this with the 90C as well, and I don't know if this is like a modern tractor thing, but maybe the good example, I used to spend a lot of time on a John Deere 4755 that we used for primary tillage back in Washington State, and when you touched the brakes, if you were in four-wheel drive, when you touched the brakes, it would turn off the four-wheel drive, so as you were coming to a corner, you could lock up one side and you could pivot and come back straight the other way. This tractor, if you're in four-wheel drive and you touch the brakes, it doesn't do anything, it just stays in four-wheel drive. And if you're not in two-wheel drive and you touch the brakes, it turns the four-wheel drive on. So to me, that's backwards. It should be when you touch the brakes, it turns off the four-wheel drive. Again, I don't know if this is a modern tractor thing, because really the only two modern tractors I have spent considerable time in is a Farmall 90C and a 105A. Curious what other folks' perspective is on that. I'm probably going to have to futz with the wiring and try and flip that so that it turns off the four-wheel drive when you touch the brakes, because it's wrong to me, and it makes it kind of hard to do some farm stuff when I can't pivot the machine. Yeah. That is all of the particularly egregious things. I think, this is an economy cab. It's sold that way. It is priced that way. It feels like an economy cab. If you were like going out and buying a new machine and you knew it was going to be your forever machine and you're going to do it for everything, and you're going to have to think till 10,000 hours and all of that stuff, I think I would not buy the A. I think I would spend the extra money for the C. For our business, this is our first tractor, and it will not be our last. Long term, we bought this machine. It needed to be big enough to do stuff like primary tillage, what I have it hooked up for right now, but also running our haybine, running a baler, the rake, all of that stuff. But in 3-4 years, I hope that we kind of get big enough that we have maybe 150 horsepower machine, maybe even a little bit bigger, that's got a much nicer cab. I would really like some sort of, maybe not a CVT transmission, but something similar, that does our primary tillage, runs the haybine, runs the baler, all of that stuff, and that this machine becomes the raking tractor, the picking up bales tractor, and the backup, and ferrying stuff around, the mucking around in the cows, feeding them in the winter tractor. So I just didn't care that it was like the perfect cab right now. It just needed to be the right price and to do everything that we needed it to do, because it's a money-making tool for us right now. And it definitely fit that bill. So, the good stuff. That radio is awesome. The speakers, so-so. But having a Bluetooth radio in a tractor from the factory is really nice. And it's just like a regular modern radio. And it just works. It's kind of a nice change of pace. The HVAC. I prefer these head unit style HVAC systems. I know some people don't like them. they kind of maybe feel like more of an economy type thing. Whatever. Having this blowing at my face and not the console style ones that are just blowing at your legs, I find to be much more comfortable for a long day. A funny sign that shows how much of an economy machine this is, if you look at the HVAC controls here on the C series, this is mounted vertically on a column right here, whereas this tractor, it's been turned sideways and just stuck up here, and like the numbers are turned sideways and all the controls. I like that they saved money because they definitely didn't need to spend more money to fix that, but it's just a little silly. But it works really well. Other than these tractors just sort of have a weird, the range between cold and hot is not great. This tractor's a lot better than the 90C, but there's something, I think it's the knob just isn't always perfect. The next thing is the engine. I should preface this. The tractor that we have at work has got a chronic emissions issue so bad that the dealer basically told us, you need to go talk to someone else who maybe could provide you with a tune of some description to make the problem go away, because we can't fix it. I don't think that's a statement about whether they could fix it, but those type of issues, they're just hard to diagnose for kind of these small mom and pop type dealerships, and there's just not really good return on investment. Like they end up charging you, they might charge you for 20 hours worth of labor just to diagnose the problem, and it might be something that still can't be fixed. That tractor, I think, has an electrical issue. There's lots of reasons why I think it has an electric issue after years of messing with it, but the emission system on that tractor, which is slightly different than the one on this tractor, which I'm hoping will mean this one doesn't have issues, but the 3.4 liter FPT, which I know them as Fiat Powertrain, which is kind of part of the conglomerate that Case is part of. That engine is just a tank, and the reason I say it's a tank is because this tractor is pulling at 7 miles an hour a 22-foot field cultivator. Granted, I'm not pulling this super deep. I've got it set pretty shallow, and this field in particular is light ground, but I've been doing other heavy ground with it. This is way more field cultivator than this tractor really should be able to handle, and it seems to do it like really dang well. The engine just, the power profile just makes it work really well for this type of work. The guy that I bought this from was pulling this same field cultivator with a tractor with twice the horsepower, and it would definitely pull better with more horsepower, but as you can see, I've already done this whole field. It's honestly doing a pretty good job for what it is. Like, it's not a super fancy nice field cultivator or nothing. It's just a $1,800 used Wilrich, but this tractor pulls it, and that just kind of blows me away. Traction is a bit of an issue that I really could do with some more weights on the machine for doing it, but it works. The transmission, good and bad. These kind of 3x4 transmissions where there's 3 ranges, 4 gears, they're very dependable transmissions. They're not great for a lot of work where you're changing speeds a lot. We do have the power shift on this one, or the power shuttle, or whatever they could call it. So it's electronic forward and reverse. They hold a lot of power. They just pull good. I'll give it as a good because they're very consistent. The loader is easy to take on and off, other than the hydraulics. I do like that. I take it on and off of a lot. You just pull out, there's a pin on each side. You gotta have the loader bucket on. You can put down the stands, and you can do it in just a couple minutes. The serviceability of the machine is pretty good. The primary hydraulic filters on this side, the fuel filters and engine filter are tucked up behind this cover. Easier to do with the loader off, but you can do it with the loader on. The hydraulic screen is tucked up underneath there. The oil fill ports right here. Just generally speaking, it's a pretty easy tractor to work on and service. The hood pops up easy. I'm not going to do it now because it's kind of annoying with the loader on. And I need to take off this interior piece that makes it, you got to flip it forward to pop the hood, and it just bothers me. But it's easy to clean out all the radiators and everything on this machine. There's a good screen in there for catching junk, your hay chaff, all that stuff. Set up pretty well. Oh, something else I don't like. They started shipping these with these lock-in gas caps where you need the key to open the fuel cap. And it's so stupid because, you know, I don't want to have to shut off the whole tractor just to fuel it. Oftentimes I leave this running when I'm doing it, and it's dumb. I need to get a different cap. The 90C that we've got, a little bit older one's got one without the key requirement. I got to order one, switch it over. The air filter is also really easy on this. It's right up front, so if you got to pop it out and clean it during that sort of work, it's not. Some of the 90C, it's like tucked up farther in, and it's kind of annoying. This one's right at the front, super easy to clean out. The handling with a load on it, especially with a bale on the front, the 90C, for whatever reason, always feels a little rear on the light end, even though it's got the same ballast. I've got ballast there on the inside of the rims here. I've got two of them on each side. I'll probably get one more set and have three on each side, but this tractor just feels a lot more stable even before I bumped out the rims. I've got a wide stance for doing hay work, but yeah, the loader, whatever the package, the way it's mounted feels really stable. Feels like it picks up a good load and doesn't kind of bob around much. And inside the cab, I'll catch some footage as I kind of come around for the last pass, drive back over to the field approach, and back to the farm to switch to the seed drill. But the cab is just generally pretty quiet, relative to some of these older cabs. An old Soundguard or something. This is a much more pleasant cab, volume-wise, to be in. It's not amazing. Like, there's not a ton of dampening. It's not like being in an X9 combine where you barely can tell the thing's running. There's still noise in here, but it's a good balance, I think, especially for an economy cab. Like, you're getting a good value. I still wear earplugs basically all the time when I'm in here, unless I'm actually listening to something on the radio because my headphones have died. I'd rather have my headphones in and it'd be a little bit quieter for me. But I've spent a lot of time running equipment and my ears just kind of hurt. And another good thing that I forgot. This tractor comes standard with 3 mirrors, and they're actually pretty good mirrors. They're totally acceptable. The lights are also acceptable, but they're not good. They're just I'm gonna have to fix that if I'm gonna be doing night farming a lot. But yeah, I don't know. If you're thinking about one of these, hopefully this is helpful in making a decision. I do recommend, if your dealer will let you do a demo, go do a demo, drive it for 4 hours. Get comfortable, see how you feel. Some people maybe won't fit the cab. The cab won't fit very well. Or there's other things that maybe bother you. I don't know. Everybody's tractor preferences are different, but I've been pretty happy with my purchase. I'm happy with my local dealer. I always tell people my old job had me talking to people pretty often about equipment stuff, and I always said, buy from a dealer that you like, because maybe the tractor's not as good, but having a bad dealer experience can make a good tractor bad. And a bad tractor can be made pretty good by a good dealership, so keep that in mind. hopefully it helps. I'll catch some footage of me driving out of the way of the field and finish off this video. That's 7 miles an hour.